The administrative error flickered across 17 different star systems before anyone noticed. In the grand bureaucratic machine of the Galactic Education Consortium, one misplaced decimal point had just sentenced a human girl to what most species considered a death sentence. Anna Chen stood in the crystalline arrival bay of Nexus Prime Academy, her single duffel bag slung over one shoulder, smiling that peculiar human smile that made the Vrex security officer's secondary heart skip in confusion. The smile wasn't happiness, though the officer couldn't know that. It was the smile of someone who had just realized the universe's cosmic joke and decided to laugh along. "You are human," the officer clicked through his translator, mandibles twitching uncertainly. "Last time I checked," Anna replied, adjusting her worn baseball cap. Around them, species that averaged 8 feet tall and possessed natural armor plating moved through the bay like predatory shadows. A KORTHIAN Chinese letter passed by, its crystalline exoskeleton glinting under the artificial suns, designed to survive in methane atmospheres and trained to fight since hatching. It glanced at Anna with all 6 eyes, and made a sound that the translator mercifully didn't interpret. "There must be error," the officer insisted. "Humans attend civilian academies. Nexus Prime is the Galactic Federation's elite military academy, training the finest warriors from 273 member species, with a 42% fatality rate during the 4-year program," Anna recited cheerfully. "Yeah, I got the brochure. Well, more like the holographic warning label, but same difference." The Vrex officer's primary eyes widened. "You understand what this place is?" "A clerical error with a body count." Anna's smile never wavered. "So where's orientation?" 3 hours later, Lewis Thorne watched the human girl from across the combat assessment arena with the calculating gaze that had kept him alive through 2 years at Nexus Prime. He was the only other human at the academy, the only one who had actually qualified through the proper channels. His augmented reflexes, gene-tailored musculature, and cybernetic neural enhancements made him more expensive than most Corvette-class ships. He was humanity's attempt to prove they belonged among the galaxy's warrior elite. And now this civilian was going to ruin everything. "She won't last a day," growled Craxer, a Thanix demolition specialist whose species considered pain a recreational drug. "Look at her. No armor plating, no enhanced musculature, standard human sensory range. She's prey." Lewis didn't respond. He was too busy watching Anna navigate the obstacle course designed by sadists with doctorate degrees in applied lethality. She shouldn't have been keeping up. The course adapted to each participant's abilities, generating challenges that pushed them to their absolute limits. For Anna, that should have meant instant failure. Instead, she was smiling. Not the confident smile of a warrior, not the manic grin of someone with a death wish, something else entirely. When a gravity blade swung toward her head, set to training mode but still capable of breaking bones, Anna didn't dodge with enhanced reflexes. She stumbled, genuinely clumsy, and the blade whistled past. When the floor opened beneath her feet, she grabbed a handhold not through calculated precision, but because she'd already been falling in that direction. When a Corthian trainee, accidentally, shoulder-checked her toward a disintegration field, she bounced off at precisely the angle needed to ricochet into the safe zone. It was like watching someone win at roulette by betting on every number at once. "Impossible," Lewis muttered. The assessment ended with Anna in the middle tier, not last, as everyone expected, but not impressive either. Exactly average, exactly unremarkable, exactly the kind of performance that would make instructors mark her as barely competent and move on. Lewis knew better. He'd seen the micro-expressions, the minute adjustments, the way her eyes tracked everything while her face maintained that same idiotic smile. Either she was the luckiest being in the galaxy, or she was hiding something that terrified him. He found her in the human-compatible dining section that evening, sitting alone with a tray of what the Academy optimistically called nutrition paste. She was reading on a datapad, occasionally glancing up at the predatory species that circled like sharks scenting blood. "You're going to get killed," Lewis said, sliding into the seat across from her. Anna looked up and that smile returned. "Hi, you must be Lewis, the only other human, the one who actually earned his spot here." She extended a hand. "Anna Chen, the clerical error." Lewis ignored the hand. "You know why you're here." "Some administrator in the Tau Ceti Processing Center confused my application to the Colonial Botanical Institute with someone else's application to Nexus Prime. Similar names, apparently. By the time anyone noticed, I was already in system, and Galactic Education Consortium bureaucracy moves slower than continental drift." She took a bite of nutrition paste, grimaced, and continued smiling. "They gave me the option to withdraw and reapply next cycle." "So why didn't you?" "Full scholarship," Anna said simply. "Do you know how much student debt I'd have at the Botanical Institute? Besides," she looked around the dining hall at species that could rip her apart without effort. "How often does a human get to see something like this?" "This isn't a zoo. This is an institution designed to forge the galaxy's most lethal warriors. The training scenarios tomorrow could actually kill you." "Could," Anna agreed, "but probably won't. 42% fatality rate means 58% survival rate. I like those odds. Those statistics account for species with natural advantages. Humans are fragile, slow, weak, poor sensory range, no natural weapons." Anna nodded. "I've read the xenobiology reports. We're basically the galaxy's participation trophy in physical capability." Lewis leaned forward. "Then explain to me how you completed that obstacle course." "I got lucky. 19 times in 12 minutes. That's not luck, that's pattern recognition," Anna interrupted, her smile finally flickering into something sharper. "Humans are really, really good at pattern recognition. We see patterns in everything: clouds, random noise, obstacle courses designed to kill us. We're so good at it that we see patterns that aren't even there. It's called apophenia, and it's both a bug and a feature of human neurology." Lewis stared at her. "You're saying you predicted?" "Not predicted. Recognized. Everything here follows patterns, Lewis. The gravity blades swing in mathematical sequences. The floor panels open based on pressure distribution algorithms. The Corthian who tried to kill me has targeted every smaller species the same way for 3 days. I checked the observation feeds. The whole universe runs on patterns, and humans spent 300,000 years surviving by recognizing them faster than the things trying to eat us." She took another bite of nutrition paste. "We're not the strongest. We're not the fastest, but we're very, very good at noticing things." The next morning, tactical scenarios began. The class was divided into mixed species teams and dropped into a simulated combat zone, a ruined urban environment on a high-gravity world, filled with adaptive AI opponents and environmental hazards. The objective: survive 8 hours and complete tactical goals. Lewis found himself on a team with Anna, Craxer the Thanix, a Vrex scout named Zieth, and a Corthian named Thunder and Stone, though the translator shortened it to Thunder. It was, on paper, a balanced team. In reality, it was 4 competent warriors and a human girl who shouldn't have been there. "Stay behind us," Thunder rumbled as they materialized in the simulation. "Try not to die immediately." "I'll do my best," Anna said cheerfully, checking her standard-issue plasma rifle. She'd never fired one before yesterday. The weapon training course had been interesting. The first ambush came 60 seconds later. AI opponents, simulating Kresh raiders with adaptive tactics, poured from buildings on 3 sides. Thunder's crystalline armor absorbed the initial barrage while Craxer laid down suppressive fire. Zieth vanished into the shadows, his species' natural camouflage rendering him nearly invisible. Lewis moved like water, his enhanced reflexes and tactical training creating efficient kill zones. He dropped 4 opponents in 3 seconds. His weapon tracking targets his cybernetic eyes identified before they finished emerging from cover. Anna tripped over rubble and fell behind a wall that happened to provide perfect cover from the crossfire. She squeezed off random shots that missed everything, but somehow caused an unstable building to collapse on 2 enemies. Her plasma rifle overheated, and while she fumbled with the cooling mechanism, a raider flanked around. The raider's shot went wide. It had calculated Anna's position based on standard evasive patterns, but she was doing something no competent warrior would do, fumbling with her weapon while standing still. Thunder crushed the raider from behind while Anna finally got her rifle working. "Next time stay in cover," Thunder roared. "Sorry," Anna called back, still smiling. The scenario continued. Every time Anna should have died, something intervened. A misplaced step that made her stumble just as enemy fire passed overhead. A wrong turn that led her away from an ambush and into a cache of supplies. A dropped grenade that rolled down a slope and took out a sniper nest no one knew was there. Lewis started noticing the pattern. Anna wasn't getting lucky. She was reading the simulation's underlying code, not literally, but instinctively recognizing the patterns in how the AI adapted, where structural weaknesses existed, how enemy tactics repeated with slight variations. When a building collapsed, she was already moving to the safe zone. When an ambush triggered, she was facing the wrong direction but happened to shoot at a structural weak point that caused a chain reaction. When the team needed to cross an open area, she pointed out a path through rubble that somehow provided 90% cover from the surrounding high points. "How did you know that would work?" Zieth asked after Anna suggested they trigger a chemical explosion to create a smoke screen. The way the buildings were damaged suggested atmospheric combat with phosphorus-based weapons, which means residual compounds in the foundations. The drainage system would collect those compounds, and if we introduce a spark, she shrugged. Pattern recognition. Plus, basic chemistry. "That's not basic," Craxer muttered. "That's terrifying." They completed their objectives with 40 minutes to spare and 0 casualties. When they dematerialized from the simulation, the instructors were studying their performance data with expressions that ranged from confused to suspicious. Over the following weeks, a pattern emerged, not just in Anna's performance but in how the Academy responded to her. Species that had initially dismissed her as prey began watching her differently, not with respect exactly, with unease. Because Anna Chen kept surviving, not through superior firepower or enhanced biology. She survived because she understood the rules better than anyone else. She knew that the Academy's training scenarios followed specific safety protocols, that AI patterns repeated, that instructors tested specific competencies in predictable sequences. She knew that the 4-story fall wouldn't kill her because gravity compensators had minimum safety margins. She knew which toxic substances were actually just irritants, because galactic law required specific safety standards. She knew the game, and she played it with a smile. Lewis found her in the observatory one night, 3 months into the semester. She was alone, staring at the star field beyond the Academy's shields. "They're starting to fear you," he said. Anna didn't turn around. "I know." That wasn't a compliment. When warriors fear you, they test you harder. "I know that too." She finally looked at him. "Did you know humans are the only known species that regularly engage in persistence hunting? We're not fast, but we just keep coming. We'll follow prey for days until it literally dies of exhaustion. Every other predator in Earth's history that tried that went extinct. Humans perfected it." "What does that have to do with?" "I'm not trying to beat anyone here, Lewis. I'm not trying to prove humans are warriors. I'm just trying to survive until graduation." She smiled that maddening smile. "And humans are really, really good at surviving. It's basically our whole thing." "At what cost? You're changing how they see our entire species." "Am I?" Anna tilted her head. Or am I just showing them what they've always known but never wanted to admit? That physical strength and natural weapons aren't the only paths to victory. That intelligence, pattern recognition, and sheer stubborn persistence matter just as much. Lewis was quiet for a long moment. You're going to get us both killed. Probably not. 58% survival rate, remember. She turned back to the stars. Besides, I've run the numbers. The species that survive longest in the Galactic Federation aren't the strongest. They're the ones that adapt best. And humans, she laughed quietly. We've been adapting to things trying to kill us since before we crawled out of the trees. The final exam came in the form of the Crucible, a week-long simulation on a hostile planet with no respawns, no safety protocols beyond basic life support, and victory conditions so brutal that failure was expected. Teams could surrender at any time, but surrender meant expulsion. Lewis and Anna were on the same team again, along with 6 others who had survived the first 3 years. They dropped into a jungle so toxic that merely breathing required filter masks, facing an enemy force with numerical and technological superiority. On day 3, with half their team injured and supplies dwindling, they were pinned in a canyon with no escape routes. The enemy was closing in, and even Lewis's enhanced mind couldn't see a solution. Anna studied the canyon walls, the vegetation, the environmental data scrolling across her visor. Then she smiled. I have an idea. You're all going to hate it. What else is new? Craxer groaned. Anna explained her plan. It involved collapsing the canyon on their own position, using the toxic jungle plants as accelerants, and betting everything on the geological instability she'd noticed in the sediment patterns. That's insane, Thunder said flatly. It's certain death, Zeeth added. Lewis looked at Anna's face, at that insufferable smile, and realized something. She wasn't crazy. She'd seen the pattern they'd all missed. The simulation was testing whether they could recognize when conventional tactics failed and adapt with unconventional solutions. It was testing the very thing humans excelled at. Do it, Lewis said. They survived. Barely. The canyon collapse created an avalanche that buried both them and the pursuing enemy. But Anna had calculated, pattern recognition, she'd called it, that the geological formation would create air pockets, that the enemy's equipment wouldn't function under the debris, that extraction teams could find them before they suffocated. She was right on all counts. When they emerged from the simulation a week later, Anna Chen had the highest individual survival rating in Nexus Prime's 200-year history. Not through kills, not through combat prowess, through an uncanny ability to read situations, recognize patterns, and find solutions that shouldn't have existed. At graduation, the Galactic Education Consortium representatives apologized for the clerical error. They offered Anna admission to the Colonial Botanical Institute with full honors. She declined. I think I'll stay in military strategy, actually, she said, still wearing that smile. Turns out I'm pretty good at it. Lewis found her afterward, finally understanding what he'd witnessed over 4 years. You knew from the beginning, didn't you, that this was where you belonged? Anna's smile shifted into something genuine. The application wasn't an error, Lewis. I applied to both programs. When they accidentally accepted me here instead of there, I saw the pattern. Sometimes the universe's mistakes are actually opportunities. She walked away, leaving Lewis alone with a terrifying thought. If one human civilian could reshape Nexus Prime's understanding of warfare through nothing but pattern recognition and persistence, what could humanity do when they actually tried? Somewhere in the administrative offices of the Galactic Education Consortium, a new application flagged in the system. Another human, another potential clerical error. The reviewing officer looked at the name Chen Michael, Anna's brother. He marked it approved and smiled. Perhaps some errors were worth repeating. The end.